Empathy Boost. Today we are looking at the empathy alphabet, and we're considering the question, how do we keep empathy alive in our daily lives? Hi, I'm Dr. K.P. McKee, founder and executive director of a Spacious Place Creativity and Spirituality Center. And as we look at our last Empathy Boost session, we would love to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments, you can enter them into the comment box on your mobile device or on your computer, and we will respond to you. So we have been looking at what empathy is, the ability to stand in another person's shoes, to imagine what they are experiencing without them having to specifically tell us. And I just want to start off by saying that the last few weeks, we have made a hurried cross-country trip. Our daughter fell and broke 2 bones in her ankle and also dislocated her ankle bone. And the injury was severe enough that she had to have surgery. So David and I got in the car and drove the 19 hours across country so that we could be there for her to go into surgery. And on the trip going and on the trip back, we had experiences with both empathy and lack of empathy. And I can tell you that especially when you are feeling vulnerable and concerned and frightened, a lack of empathy is very hurtful. I also would say that those experiences of empathetic caring were empowering and gave us the hope that we needed to make our way through a difficult time in our family. So I was reminded again about the importance of empathy and my desire to try to build that into my daily routine, which got me to thinking about how can that be a part of our daily process. David is looking at me. I wanted to see if there's a reason why. So how can we promote empathy in our daily lives? I don't know about you, but it was a common practice when I was in school and when my daughters were in school to do an acrostic poem with our names, with the letters of our names telling something about who we are and what we wanted to share about ourselves. And I thought, why don't I do the same with the word empathy? So we're looking at an empathy alphabet today, and I want to just kind of walk you through that. So E for equality. And this means recognizing our worth and the equal worth of other people. For those of us who are Christians, we can remember Jesus saying, love your neighbor as yourself. Not more than yourself or less than yourself, but as yourself. So equality. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment that we're in, of being aware of what we're thinking and aware of our emotions. When we fail to do this, when we fail to be mindful, we can project our own issues onto other people and cause unnecessary hurt to them. And so this is a part of being empathetic, is being aware of ourselves. And also just knowing that we all have issues. We all are struggling with pain and with addictions of one kind or another. And owning that is a helpful step. So mindfulness. Patience. And this is patience with ourselves as well as patience with others. And to my mind, patience is an expression of hope that things will get better. We often feel impatient with ourselves when we haven't been making the progress we wanted to with it, whether it be with being more empathetic or anything else. But saying, you know what, I tried today and tomorrow I will wake up and get up in the morning and I will try again, and I believe that I can do better, and I believe that I can get better. And also having patience with other people, because we're all on a journey of self-discovery, and it takes the time that it takes. A for activism. Empathy in action is an act of activism because empathy in action changes the world for the better. So think about what you have done recently, where you have stood in someone else's shoes and acted for their good. You did a powerful good when you did that thing, and you have been an activist. Travel. We have put a lot of miles on in the past few weeks and been through a lot of different cultures and experienced things where people believed differently than we did, thought differently than we did. And it just reminded me that travel gives us an opportunity to broaden our souls. It shows us both our differences and our common human needs and capacities. There was a woman who was working on the staff at it was a hotel where we stopped, and she was doing the breakfast shift. She was a badass. She knew her job, and she was going to feed people. And then she turned on a newscast, which would not be the newscast I would ever want to listen to. But hearing the way that she related to other people and the way she was determined to care for us and our common human need to be fed reminded me that we have much in common, both our needs and our capacities to care for one another. Hospitality. Well, hospitality is more than just making sure that you have a clean room and clean towels for people, although after our trip I am very aware of how important that is. Hospitality is even larger than that, and I wanted to share a piece about hospitality from one of my favorite spiritual practices books. This is called Practicing Our Faith, and it's a series of articles, essays, and that it is edited by Dorothy Bass. And I'm not sure if it's still in print or not, but I certainly hope so. So she's speaking about hospitality. She has a whole chapter on this that is written by Ana Maria Pineda, and she's speaking about Posada. Every December, Hispanic communities relive in their flesh the gospel truth that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. John 1 verse 14. And I just want to stop and say, this book has been out of print, it was printed, the copy I have, a long time ago. So some of the language may be a little bit dated, but I love what it has to say here. And this section is called Strangers in Our Midst. Although Las Posadas is a beautiful, engaging ritual, the reality it addresses is a painful one. The reality of human need and exclusion. When the ritual takes place in the Mission District of San Francisco, many of the participants, once refugees themselves, remember their own experience as strangers. Through the ritual, the community affirms the goodness of taking people in, and those who once needed posada are reminded to offer it to others. This is a lesson that is needed in other communities as well. The need for shelter, for posada, is a fundamental human need. None of us ever knows for sure when we might be uprooted and cast on the mercy of others. Throughout human history, there has been times when people were dislocated, becoming vulnerable as they journey far from home. We can certainly relate to that. Sometimes there have been people to take them in, and sometimes not. Just as the human need for hospitality is a constant, so it seems, is the human fear of the stranger. Unfortunately, the fear of the strange one has a long history in human societies. The stranger seems to portend danger, sometimes of physical harm, but also because the stranger represents the unknown, a challenge to the familiar constructs of our personal world. And so we human beings try to keep strangers at a distance. We avoid risky encounters, or we try to neutralize the stranger's power in order to protect our own. Some societies try to appease strangers with gifts. Others exclude or even destroy them. And then she goes on to say, to welcome the stranger is to acknowledge him as a human being made in God's image. It is to treat her as one of equal worth with ourselves, indeed, as one who may teach us something out of the richness of experiences different from our own. The stranger's gifts may come to a family circle or to a society. Yet, the undocumented foreigner, the alien who crosses over the borders of a narrow and provincial world, is too often not greeted with hospitality or even acknowledged as the human being in God's image. It is perhaps less difficult for marginalized communities to reach out than for those long settled to do so.
The book is still in print. I found it on Amazon. I will put the link in the comments.
Great. I highly recommend it. And last, why for yearning? Our desire to boost our empathy is vital. It's amazing what we can do if we want it enough. So that wraps up our sessions on Empathy Boost. We would love to hear your thoughts about it. We will start with a new series on July the 25th at the same time. Also, if you want to look at our website, if you're looking for something for your children to do this summer, we're doing messy art afternoons on Wednesday afternoons where children can get away from screens and come and play and make some messy art outside. And you can see more about that on our website, www.aspaciousplace.com. Also, you can rewatch this on our website, on YouTube, or on Facebook. And just for our closing prayer, I would like to share part of the lyrics of the song, Blessed Be the Tie That Binds, as our closing prayer, because I believe this is a hymn about empathy. So if you join me. We share our mutual woes, our mutual burdens bear, and often for each other flows the sympathizing tear. When we asunder part, it gives us inward pain, but we shall still be joined in heart and hope to meet again.